Welcome everybody to Yoga for Balance and Bones. I'm so grateful to have another sold out season in the books right now. We're getting started. It is a 10-week series. Apparently I don't know how to do math anymore, basic simple math, but this is class 1 of 10 and so on and so on and so on. We have a break during the long weekend in May. Other than that, we are here till close to the end of June. We are going to be starting this series off with any hope for those who are returning after a little bit of a break. You watched the introduction or orientation video on best practices. It is there for your benefit. It may reduce the risk of injury when you're transitioning. And as we know in yoga, depending on the postures, and I'm not going to say we can't do anything in specific, but in this class we are minimizing full range of motion in twisting. This is twisting action when our hips and shoulders go in different directions. And we are minimizing spinal flexion, which is this rounding action. Okay, but what I want to say to you is that recording and orientation will familiarize you with best practices. Transitions are generally the spot where we hurt ourselves in class if we are going to hurt ourselves, not within the context of the postures themselves. Any movement that you do in this class, do we do it to a point of pain? Obvious answer is incorrect. We do not. You may feel sensations of stretching. That stretching on a scale of 0 being no feeling to 10, I feel like something is going to break. We want to be in the 3 to 4. So it's a relatively low stretching sensation, which comes from the brain, that we want to feel. If we feel shaking, that is a red light. Stop. Do not proceed, okay? So no shaking, your body is responding in telling you that they don't feel safe. What we are focusing on class number 1 is functional movement patterns as per Osteoporosis Canada recommendation. But before we go to functional movements, and I think this community pretty much knows what functional movement is, it's movements that we do in everyday life. Those movements include standing nice and tall, hinging from our hips, squatting, twisting, which is done minimally in this series, walking, squatting, and lunging, okay? So you don't need to know all that, but those are the movements that you will find within the context of these Hatha Yoga postures. But before we can move into those postures, I want to bring a little bit of information to your joints. And specifically, we're gonna use our shoulder joints for an example. Imagine we all had really bad posture and our shoulders were kind of rolling forward, which kind of puts us in spinal flexion. You can try what that feels like. It doesn't feel great. Some of us might be already there because of a lifetime of movement pattern. But then I go to raise my arm overhead. You can see that there's a potential with the shoulder not set in the socket properly to minimize my range of motion, right? You see, I literally cannot raise my arm completely because my arm is not centered in the socket, okay? So let's try this first. Let's draw the head of the arm bone back and slightly down. Good. Stand nice and tall. Chin is tucked in. And then slowly just raise one arm forward and bring it back down. Good. And the other arm forward and up. Good. And down. Good. And then out to the side and down and out to the other side and down. So when we move our body in class, it's ideal for us to have our bones, our joints centrated, right? So we want to think about best practices, and that includes our pelvis too, right? So if I go, and I want you to try it as well, we're going to do a little talking because it's the first class. If I go to move forward, unlocked knees, and I push my hips back with a neutral spine, I'm going to have a nice range of motion. It's not huge right now, but I'm focusing on that neutral pelvis position. Right? The opposite of that, I'm going to come a little bit closer, is flat back, tailbone tucked underneath me, and then I'm going to try and keep that flat back position with my tailbone tucked and my pelvis not part of the movement. You can see that's two totally different things, right? So I'm hinging forward, trying to do a flat back, but because my tailbone is tucked under and I have an exaggerated pelvic tilt, this is what's gonna happen, right? As opposed to leading with the pelvis, pushing it back, hips go behind us, and letting our spine follow. We'll go into that in a little bit more detail. So that speaks to the centration of my pelvis. Okay, we're gonna practice that in class as well. For now, we're gonna come to stand with our feet hip width apart, all 10 toes facing forward. Yep, you can take those sweaters off. We're gonna start moving. So when we are not in a position of centration, we have uneven pull on our muscles, right? So if you think about the shoulder position, the shoulder forward, this is gonna be all stretched out. The muscle in the front is gonna be all short. So we wanna start with our best posture. So draw the shoulders back and down. Chin is slightly tucked in. Good, and just take a couple of smooth inhales and exhales through your nose. Good. If it helps for you to breathe through your mouth, you can breathe through your mouth on the exhalation, but we want to try to send messages to our body that it feels safe. So 2 more deep inhales and exhales through your nose. Try to feel the expansion all the way around your body. So if it helps for you to hold on or press gently into your ribs, go ahead and do that. Breathing into your back, into your side waist, and exhale, let it out. Good, and last time here, inhale. And exhale, good. Now from here, I want you to take your hands, bring your thumbs together, bring your index fingers to touch, and place the palm of your hand on your hip bones, your index fingers on your pubic bone, and your thumbs just below your navel. Good. Ideally, if we look down, we want our index fingers and thumbs on the same plane. So what we don't want is our index fingers below our thumbs, right? Because that would make my butt stick out. Knees soft. Of course, we also don't want our pubic bone ahead of our thumb. So if you did that, you'd be flattening your low back. Right? So try that again. Stick your tush out. You can see your index fingers go below and behind your thumbs. And then push your hips forward. Yeah, and again, flattening the low back. We're missing that nice lumbar curve. One more time for me, Jenny. Stick it out when in doubt. Not really, not in this particular instance. And then push your hips forward. So what is happening in the pelvis is affecting your low back, right? We want to feel your low back curve. We want to try and maintain this nice low back curve throughout the entirety of the class. Good. And from here, take your hands to your hips, unlock your knees. When we fold forward, we're going to think about having those bones, those bony landmarks level. So if you imagine you had an extra pair of hands here, you don't want your tush sticking out wildly. You also don't want to push your hips forward. We're just gonna push the hips back and let the spine follow. I want you to do this from a side profile because I'm gonna come over and have a look. We're not worrying about the legs just yet. The head of the pelvis is rotating on your femur, on your thigh bone. Sideline for me, Sandy, to the side, just so I can see. Yes, good. Now, another caveat to this, you cannot do this with locked out knees. So start standing, hands on hips, unlock both knees. So both knees are softly bent. Then you're gonna push your hips back and let the torso come forward as much, hey Giselle, as much as your pelvis moves back. And then press those feet into the ground. We're working into sun salutations, but very efficiently. Diane, can you walk away from the monitor a little bit so I can see your pelvis in space? Same with you, Sue. Move towards the dresser a little bit more. Yeah. Good. 2 more times for me, team. Inhale, draw the shoulders back, elbows slightly squeezing back, chest is lifted. Good. Push your hips back behind you with unlocked knees. behind you. Try to touch the wall. That's it. So Karen, start with the unlocked knees. Don't bend them when you're in the fold. Hands on hips. So yeah, good. 2 more times. We want to make sure this is ingrained into our pelvis, into our brain. Forward folds, you're going to see a heck of a lot of them in class. Good. Unlock those knees, Maureen, a little bit more and don't fold quite as deeply. Good. So we addressed how the pelvis and the spine move simultaneously. Hips move back. Let's do it one more time, but I want you to take your hands where your leg bone meets your pelvis. You can find it by just like marching on the spot. Except for Nancy, because she's busy holding her cat. Good. Now, so you have a shelf of your palms. Push your hips back. Let your spine fold. When your hips stop moving, so does your spine. Don't let those shoulders roll forward. Let's see again, Sandy. Push the hips back. Yes. Perfection. Nice, Jenny. Good, Nicole. So the reason we focus on this movement of the pelvis and the spine going together is so that we minimize the risk of rounding the spine, but additionally of causing discomfort and pain in the low back. That's really, really important. From there, we're going to talk about the legs. So are our legs doing anything in a forward fold? The answer, short, yes, they are, but not in that example. So imagine you're visiting a big city where the kids just in front of you spat out their chewed gum and it's on the soles of your feet. So I want you to drag your feet back, your heel from the side. Let's try one leg simultaneously. So just do one leg. Like you're gonna get a bit of carpet burn if you're on a carpet, yeah? Until you start to feel the muscles in the back of your leg engage. So they're contracting to bring your heel towards your seat. When you start to feel the muscles, do the other leg for me. And if you feel it, great, you're done. Right? We're trying to shorten or contract the muscles at the back of your leg from your bum. So really imagine if you're just kicking your bum without sweeping your feet, are you going to get the gum off your shoe? The answer would be no. Yes, nice. Other side if you haven't done it. Good. Now let's put the upper and lower part of the body together. Hands on the hips. Roll the shoulders back and down and lift your breastbone like you're wearing a medal. Good. So that's a little bit of spinal extension, which I'm completely fine with. Unlock both knees. Very important. Push the hips back. Now, can you try to imagine your feet are simultaneously sliding back behind you to feel that same contraction that you felt by sweeping the gum off of your feet? So we're gonna try to pull our feet back, but they're not gonna go anywhere. It's a really challenging ask. Yeah, so try to drag your feet back. They're not gonna go anywhere, but we are effectively trying to do the same exact action and then come back up. So you're not gonna just stay in the hinge. You're gonna go down, pulling your heels back, 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 back. This cannot be done quickly. Are your knees unlocked? Is your head in line with your spine? Stop there, Diane. Yeah, no further than that, and come back up. And now as you come back up, instead of just letting your back muscles straighten your body, how about you push your feet into the floor and come up a little quick? Yes, good. So hinge, flat back, try to pull those heels back. This might take a little bit more than this class to feel those hamstrings, but I know mine are burning already. Yes, push the floor away to stand. So we're doing this all with your neutral spine, with your mindful breath. Inhale maybe to hinge. Exhale, come on up. One more time for a good measure. You're going to be doing a lot of this in this series. That's it, Claire. Good. Are there any questions to that? Put your hand up. Did anybody feel their hamstrings? Thumbs up if you did. Hand up. Yes. Yay. Let's get down to the ground, team. She gets excited. So transitioning to the floor, supporting those neutral curves of your spine. As per the video, your head, and I forgot to get a dish towel. I'm not going to run into the kitchen, but you can support the lumbar spine because this is very important. From a sideline position, we're going to get to the side, focusing on some fundamental movements. Our neutral spine is present in all of our functional movement patterns, so we might as well ingrain it into the body. Find your index finger and thumb position from standing. Place that on the surface of your pelvis. And then we want to, again, play with pelvic tilt so that our index fingers are higher than our thumbs. And then conversely, our thumbs higher than index fingers. And we want to play these two areas gently on our back because this is when our spinal column is least loaded. And can you do this with a calm, cool breath? Gentle, slow, and controlled. Feet are hip width apart. Hands are on your pubic bone. Yep. Base of the palm is on your hip bones. Good. Give me 3 more using that mindful breath. There is absolutely no rush. Now, in order to have stability in your trunk, and just so you know, I always joke around your arms, legs if we cut them off, but technically your trunk is from your xiphoid process. So if you take your fingers and go all the way down where your bottom rib cage ends, this is where your xiphoid process is, all the way to your pelvic floor, and then all the way around. Right? So this is effectively your core. We want to find that stability, and you won't have that stability if you don't have a centrated pelvis. So find that neutral place where a cup of tea can sit on your pelvis open to the ceiling and neither fall towards your navel or in between your thighs. So this is our centrated pelvis. And once you find that centrated pelvis, take a moment here. I'm going to keep my hands there on the top of my pelvis throughout this exercise. We'll take a big breath in collectively through our nose, and as we exhale, we'll float our right leg to tabletop, and inhale, lower it down. Exhale, left leg to tabletop. Inhale, lower it down. Again, keep going, marching on the spot, making sure that you maintain the stability underneath your hands. Again, we don't want to add weight, which is basically your legs right now, challenging the stability of your core. If every single time you lift your leg, your low back presses into the ground, right? Which is super easy to do if you're not connected or dialed into your center. That's it, Nancy. Nice. So take your time. And Claire, make sure you bring your knee right over your hip. So you're not just straightening your leg, you're bringing that knee so it's directly over your hip crease. Yes, that's better. Good. We'll go for 4 and lower. Exhale for 3. Slow and lower. Gosh, we're in a rush today. 2, I promise to be done by 2:30. And 1, so good, team. So maintaining that stability with your neutral spine, extend one arm over your head and turn to your side, finding your way onto quadruped. So that's 4-point kneeling or hands on the seat of a chair. You choose what works best for you. If you need to pad your knees, please do so. Take your time. If you want a sip of water. It's never a rush. Good. Almost there. So again, now we're going to make it more difficult. So finding that neutral pelvis in 4-point kneeling can involve your book or your yoga block. For those of you who are not familiar with this technique, you're going to take your block or a book on the back of your pelvis. So you can see, we know where the small of our back is, where that low back curve is. I do not want it there. It'll never fall off because it's being cradled by your curves. Right? Instead, we take it back right on top of our pelvis. Now, very important here for those of you who I've told a few times, don't let your head turn into a melon. We're not going to create that stability we need, that neutral spine, if we take our head out of the equation. So before you go, I want you to actively draw the tops of your shoulders down away from your ears, like you're closing your armpits. Okay, so if you want to see what that looks like from standing, I'm going to come closer to the monitor. Instead of your shoulders being up, I want you to lock them down. And that doesn't change. Okay. So locking the shoulders away from the ears, elbows locked out. Now push the floor away. So hands on seat of chair, Jenny, is better than the back of the chair. Just because the next move, I want you to lock the shoulders away from the ears. Now from there, push the floor away. That's going to broaden your shoulder blades away from each other. And this is the position you will be in to maintain your neutral spine. Okay, release it. We'll do it all together again. Back of the neck is long, chin is tucked in. Elbows are straight. Jenny, bring your shoulders right over your wrists, so walk towards the chair a little bit more. Yeah, good. Now from here, shoulders away from your ears. I want to see it. Yes. Now push into the chair. You'll feel your upper back broaden. You got it perfectly, Nicole. From that position, you're creating what they refer to in the movement world as proximal stability, right? So we want to keep everything tight around the midsection, around our core, and we're going to extend one leg behind us. Nothing's going to change. Upper body is strong, armpits closed, pressing into the ground, shoulders over wrists. And then lower that leg, and let's do the other leg. So opposite leg, reaching back behind. Pelvis is neutral. Now we can extend, bring that back in. So the proximal stability, that neutral spine, slightly engaged through the core, enables us to have the ability for our distal, our limbs, to extend away from the proximal. So now extend opposite arm, opposite leg away from your midsection. Yes, and hold it. What's the arm on the ground doing? Pushing, pushing, pushing. Armpits closed. And bring it back in. So good. We need to let go of our core in between, right? So I don't want you bracing throughout this exercise. When both hands are on the floor and knees are on the floor, you can let your belly relax. And then as we exhale, the limbs move away from the core. And we inhale and the belly expands. Fill up the canister, exhale, contract the canister like a corset here. Good, and try that a few more times till you are confident in the movement pattern. You're starting to ingrain this neutral spine into your work, into your body on a cellular level. Good. For those of you who need a bit of a break, take it now. Bring your hips back, keeping your arms reaching overhead, or you can just sit on a chair. That's fine as well. Enjoying this nice extension. The arms are not centered here. They're certainly elevated because the shoulders move. Yes, Jenny, really good. That's a really deep fold. If it's too much for you using the seat of the chair, come on up. Really good, Diane. Nice job. Transitioning to a standing position. Please take your time. Grab a quick sip of water. You're doing great. Just so you know, all classes will not be this slow, okay? But I think foundation, if we don't have a strong foundation, it's really hard to progress as a team, okay? All right. Now we're gonna grab our yoga block or a book, box of tissues. I don't really care what it is. Take it in your right hand. How many Yoga for Bones participants does it take to screw in a light bulb? Okay, put it back down. I was just having fun because it's fun. So when your shoulder rolls forward, we know it's not centered in its socket. So for me to do this work is doing me a disservice, right? Because my muscles aren't equally balanced in the front and the back of that arm. So let's set that right shoulder back and down so it's nicely centered in the socket. It feels weird, I know. But as soon as you do that, your muscles are engaged back here. And that's what I want. Now lift your arm up. And we're gonna screw that light bulb in. Rotate it inwards and outwards. We need internal and external rotation. I like to take my opposite hand and hold onto my rib cage just to make sure it's breathing and moving. Good, 5, starting to feel things. 4, 3, 2, oh my goshness, and 1. Good, release that. Other side. So take it out to the side. Remember, head of the arm bone. Back, slightly down. We'll set it nicely in the socket for most people. And again, now you can do all the things. Less chance of injury when your joints are centrated, right? Good. So especially for my people who are dealing with like frozen shoulders or in rehab for shoulders, all this work, it's not terrible if it's not centered, but it's certainly not helping your rehabilitation, right? 4, 3, nice Diane. 2, you got it. And 1, perfect. From here, we're just gonna put that down. We'll grab it in a second and then onto our strap. This is all gonna lead to something, just so you know. Some resistance bands, strap belt, whatever you like. Hey, the sun is starting to, or the clouds are starting to break, which is good, right? For the pending eclipse. Take whatever you have here. Good, raise your arms up and down. And now find a halfway point. Between your up and down, your halfway point. Mine is like roughly in front of my chest. And try to rip that apart. Try to rip it apart. Even if it's not stretchy, it's okay. Pull your pinky fingers away from one another. Pull. Good. And as you do that, whether it's got a resistance to it or a stretch to it or doesn't, you're going to start feeling your shoulders on your back. Good. Pull. Okay. We really need a good awareness in the shoulder joint. 2, whoop. Try it now, Jenny. 1. Excellent. If you have just switched over to a resistance band because you want to feel what I'm feeling, give yourself 2 or 3 more and then grab this once again. Perfect. Okay. All 10 toes facing forward. Knees are going to be soft, just not locked out. Never a great idea. And we're going to take that dowel, whatever you're using, block, tissue box, I don't care, a book, in your right hand. Raise both arms overhead. Good. Now shrug your shoulders up. Release your shoulders back down and switch hands. Good. Shrug up. Release your shoulders and bring it back down on your other hand. Good. This time we're going to raise both arms overhead, grab whatever you have in your hands and push it up to the ceiling. So you see that shrugging action. We want that shrugging action. It's a push, right? You're pushing whatever you have up. You're hopefully framing your head with your arms and release back down. I want you to just put the sensation in your brain of that reach or push, because this will be your downward facing dog arms at some point in time, okay? Hold on to the object once again. Take your arms. It's quite narrow, right? So when you do a down dog, it'll be slightly wider arms and it'll be more accessible. Now reach up, reach up, reach up, reach up. Oh, stretching yourself. Stretch. It feels actually quite delicious. 3, 2, 1, and let's do a fun little pass the block from arm to arm, from hand to hand rather, all in one direction, finding that rotation. As you pass it behind you, you'll feel your shoulder blades retract. And after about 3 or 4 times, I want you to switch directions, lubricating the shoulder joint, all the attaching muscles. Waking those upper back muscles up. 3, 2, and 1. Put that down. Grab a quick sip water. It's really getting bright in here. Really getting bright in here. Okay. So we're going to kind of put that all together. I want you to have a chair seat facing you. Just place my blanket here. You are going to face the object, the chair. I'm going to face you, okay? Hands on hips. Feet are hip width apart. Shoulders back and slightly down. Good. Let's find the hamstrings again. Find your hamstrings. A few times. You're facing your chair. 5 sets. 4, 3, really scrape it. 2, excellent. 1, perfect. Now from here, push, unlock your knees. Push your hips back. Press your feet into the ground. Come on up. Good. Do it again. Hamstrings, hamstrings. You're going to be doing this all around your house now. Like you get muscle activation just by sweeping the floor with your feet. 2 and 1. That's it, Nicole. Good. Again, push your hips back with soft knees. Flat back position, however far your fold is. Good. Squeeze your shoulders back and down for me, Sandy. Press your feet into the floor. Come on up. Let me remind you, my fold is different from your fold and vice versa, right? How far we fold is dependent on how much range of motion your pelvis has at the top of your thighs. Please keep your knees unlocked. A couple more times. Yep, hinging, flat back, push your feet into the ground. Now let's add the arms by your side. Again, you're still gonna have your chair in front of me. I'm just turning to face you. Come to stand, inhale, circle sweep your arms wide and up. Shrug your shoulders. So you're reaching for the ceiling. As you exhale with unlocked knees, try to pull your heels back behind you and take your hands to the seat of the chair. Straighten your elbows, your chest will lift up, maybe your legs will straighten a little bit. Bend your elbows, bend your knees. Press into the floor, come on up, raise your arms up overhead and down by your side. Again, a few more times. Inhale, circle sweep your arms wide and up. Shrug the shoulders, reach for the sky. Good. Feel that space in your rib cage to your pelvis increase. As you exhale, sweep your arms. You can take them to the seat of the chair and unlock your knees. With that flat back, straighten your elbows, straighten your legs, head up, look up. Good. Exhale, fold, soften the knees, soften the elbows. Good. Push into the floor. Inhale, rise up. Yes, reach, reach, reach. Get full range of motion. Touch the sky. Exhale, arms down by your side. Good. One more time, just like that. Inhale, sweep those arms wide and up. Exhale to forward fold. Hands come to the seat of the chair. Your elbows unlocked, knees unlocked. Straighten legs, straighten arms, look up. Draw the shoulders away from your ears. Bend the elbows, softly fold. Push into the ground. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, hands come down to your heart center. Beautiful. From here, you're going to step back with your left leg. Let's just find a high lunge position. Back heel is elevated, both knees are soft. If you need a chair or wall for assistance, please go ahead and do so. Circle, sweep those arms forward, elevate them, framing your head if you're able with your arms, reach up through fingertips. Bring your hands through the center line of your body, hands to heart center. Good, and step forward. Good, again, sweep those arms wide and up. Exhale, bring them down through the center of the body. Step your opposite leg back. Again, you can have a short lunge, you can have a high lunge. Good. Release those arms by your side, sweeping them then forward and up. Elevating the shoulders away, or rather reaching them up to the ceiling. 3, 2, 1, step your feet together, bring your hands to your heart center. Pause for a moment. Reset your shoulders on your back. Turn to face the monitor so you have the mat wide across here. Good. Bring your fingertips to touch. Lift your breastbone up. Step your feet apart. Good. Release those arms. Pivot on your right heel and let your hips follow, let your back foot follow. So your back foot is on a diagonal. Good. And bend through that front knee. Good. Take a breath or two. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. In this position, we want those shoulders not to hike up around your ears. Now, as you straighten your front leg, your right leg will straighten. I want you to frame your face with those arms, reaching up to the sky. Reach up, shrug, shrug, shrug. Jenny, good. Release the arms parallel. Bend that right knee once again. Good. One more time, just like that. Turn your palms to the sky. Inhale, rise up. Get tall, tall, tall. Exhale, last time, bend that front knee, parallel the arms and gaze over your right fingertips. Beautiful work, everybody. Take a big breath in through your nose and exhale. Soften shoulders, soften jaw, soften eyes. One more breath in here. Exhale, releasing your hands to your hips. Straighten your right leg, Diane. Really nice. Good. Pivot so your feet are parallel once again. We'll go right to the other side. So lift your left heel. Pivot on your heel. Let your back toes turn in, right? If not, you're going to have a lot of strain on the inside of that right knee. Good. And then from here, arms reach out left to right. Good. Bend through that front knee. Good. Gaze over your fingertips. Neck is long. Shoulders are down. Breathe here. Push into your left leg. Straighten your left knee. Arms reach to the sky. Really beautiful, Jenny. Good. And release those arms, Nicole. Good. Reach through fingertips like laser beams are coming out. Good. Inhale, rise up. Straighten legs. Arms release up. Up, 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 up. That's it. Good. Exhale. Good. Looking over your left fingertips. Again, soften shoulders from ears. Breathing deeply here. If you need to release your hands to your hips, please go ahead and do so. But if you're using your back muscles, I want you to squeeze your shoulder blades together here and take the load off your shoulders a little bit. So squeeze the shoulder blades together. One last breath. Release the arms by your side. Straighten your front leg and pivot. Good. Step your feet together and come to stand once again. Hands on your belly, hands on your chest. Softly close your eyes, and I want you to feel the breath underneath your hands. Relaxing the shoulders away from the ears. Noticing that now. Noticing that throughout your week. If you can soften the shoulders away from your ears. And breathe fully into the front of the ribs here. So take your hands to the front of your ribs. Belly expands. Notice if you're gripping unnecessarily at this point in time. Soft knees, soft glutes, soft pelvic floor as you inhale. And exhale, take your hands to the side of your rib cage. Maybe you want to hug yourself if that feels more comfortable. And can you feel the breath in your rib cage? Is there any movement there? Take another breath here. And release. And then finally, I take my palms facing my low back here. Can you take the breath into your low back? So oftentimes, if we're dealing with any pain in our back, the first thing I would go to when I used to work privately with clients is their breathing mechanics. So the breathing mechanics can affect your tension in your muscles, the balance in your muscles. Release your arms by your side. Good. And then from here, 3 shoulder rolls, forward, up, back, and down. Good. A nice way to finish our practice today is going to be on our back. But before we get there, that was a lot of work for our shoulders today. So we're just going to give them a little extra love. 2. And 1. Beautiful. Can we change the direction, Sandy? Forward, down, and back. Remember, I will stick around if you like. If you have any questions after class, or if you've got your glasses ready to look at the eclipse. 2, 1. Beautiful. Inhale, reach your arms wide and up. As you exhale, push the hips back, unlock knees. Good. Remember, in this half back position, forward fold, you will hurt your back if you're not engaging muscles. That includes your core muscles and includes the muscles of your legs, which are primarily responsible for this movement. Take your hands to your thighs. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. As we transition all the way to the ground, starting with a 4-point kneel or a child's pose, which can be done using a chair team. So if you're doing child's pose on a chair, you're going to take your hands to the back rest of the chair, not the seat of the chair. Okay, so the back, where your back rests, your hands are going to be up there. You might want to turn the chair around, Karen, so that's facing you. And then bring your hips back. Knees, of course, are unlocked on the ground, but also if you are doing a chair or wall variation. So really reach those arms long. Walk your fingers forward if you're on the floor, or stretch your armpits. So you're elevating shoulders or shrugging them or reaching for the ceiling. I used to talk about there being pie on the ceiling in some old classes of mine. So now the pie is slightly out of your reach and you're trying to elongate your arms. Take a breath or 2 here, all the way around your abdomen, all the way around your core. Beautiful. And then slowly from here, you're simply going to transition best practices onto your back, supporting yourself with whatever you need to maintain your neutral curves. Before I forget, please have your strap, resistance band, whatever you were using earlier for the upper body work. Please have that in your hand. You'll note that this is one of my favorite poses, and it's very rare that we do a class without, without this pose. We're gonna take the strap in our right foot, and I want you to bend your knee. So you're holding the strap comfortably in both hands. Shoulders are on your back. In other words, we don't want this situation where the strap is so short or you're trying to reach your foot. So draw the shoulders back, slightly down. Chest is still proud and head is supported. And from here, you're gonna push your legs to straight and then slightly bend the knee. Continue to push and slightly bend. 3 or 4 more times. Exhale to extend the knee. Inhale to slightly bend and flex it. Straighten, bend, and then this last time we're gonna keep it as straight as we can. Get that circulation moving behind the knee. And just take a couple of breaths. Chest is open. There's a multitude of reasons we may be feeling a sensation of stretching in the back line of the leg. But again, if it is too intense, you're simply going to move your leg a little bit farther away from your body in lieu of bending the knee, right? It's important that our body has full range of motion at the joint. So we don't want to constantly be keeping that knee in a bent position. Good. One last breath here. And if you have the strap around your right foot, you're going to remove the strap and take your right ankle to your left knee. Coming into a figure 4 position here, you do not need to bring your leg up. That is not necessary. If you're really tight in through your hips, you're going to keep your left foot on the ground. For those who want a deeper stretch, I like to use my strap sometimes behind my left thigh as an extension of my arms, right? And I'll show you from different angles. Just holding it up. Again, my chest is open. Hopefully yours is too. And your shoulders are comfortably resting on the ground. Good. Flex both ankles for me, Claire. So draw your toes back towards your respective knees. Same with you, Karen. Even your left one. There you go. Good. Tailbone is heavy. Otherwise, we are letting go of that neutral spine. And release both feet to the ground, and let's go on to the other side. So you're gonna take the left knee into your chest, grab that strap or resistance band, it doesn't really matter. And we'll do about 5 or 6 slight bends and full extension. So extension means 180 degrees of the leg. So bend, Sue, and straighten. Yeah. So get that thigh away from your belly, Sue. Yes. 100% straight to slight bend. Ankle is flexed. That's it, Diane. If we have any inflammation at the knee joint, keeping it bent all the time is doing yourself a disservice, barring the fact you are unable to extend it, if that's the case. But if you have the ability to straighten your knee, it's something that we should be doing on a regular basis. Good. And now remove your strap. Take your left ankle to your right knee and either keep your left foot on the ground or you can bring your thigh into your chest. Sorry, your right thigh into your chest. Again, I like to use a strap most days. Otherwise, I feel like I'm flattening my low back, which is not a functional movement pattern. And nice, easy, full breaths. Good, one more here. And release both feet to the ground. Move your strap, place both feet on the ground. And what I would like you to do, it's easier said than done, is I would like you to try to breathe into your back rib cage for the next few moments. So you have feedback now. So yeah, what you don't know is next week's class, we are using a wall for the entirety of the class because the wall serves as a feedback for our body. So now your teacher is underneath you and with your hands relaxed in a way that feels effortless, as well with your legs. If you want to straighten them and place something underneath them, I'm fine with that too. Just make yourself comfortable with your neutral curves and try to focus on expanding your back ribs into the ground. And can we feel that? Eyes are closed, mouth is relaxed, lips are closed. And as you breathe into your back, we of course are allowing the tension to release out of our abdomen. You might notice that in order to feel anything in your back rib cage, that you have to slightly elongate your breath, specifically that inhale. And so although in the course of a movement practice, we will be engaging the musculature of our diaphragm, our core muscles that we talked about earlier, know that holding tension in this area is not functional, okay? So the core from the xiphoid process to the pelvic floor is meant to work when there is a job to do. And it usually involves load. So here, there is no job other than to breathe, which maybe feels like a job. So spend the next 2 minutes here trying to find that expansiveness that is there, but sometimes it's hiding. We need to work a little bit harder to feel that sensation. And I'll give you a little hint of something that helps me evolve my breathing practice. Is if there is tension, ask yourself why. What am I holding? Why am I holding it? What else am I holding on to in my body? So this expansion is in fact a form of letting go. And what I do encourage you is throughout this next 10-week series is to set a timer, whatever you can afford to give yourself. Maybe it's a minute, maybe it's 3, maybe it's 5, and do this. Because I assure you that if you can breathe into your back ribs, then the rest of your body is feeling the benefit of that, expanding into the side and the belly, into the pelvic floor, into the softness of the other parts of us. Start to come back to a normal cycle of breathing. And then from here, you can just start to Maybe if you need a stretch, does a stretch feel like it helps you at this point in time? If not, you can slightly turn to your side and slowly transition yourself to an upright posture, whatever that looks like. It could be on a chair, bed, floor, or other. Just find that nice neutral position of your spine, supporting all the curves of you. Good, and just rest your hands on your lap. Close your eyes for just a moment and just take a moment to thank yourself. I think the latest statistics say, I want to say it's 16 or 17% of the 65 and over population is actually moving their body on a regular basis. Mind-blowing, but you know how it feels to move on a regular basis, team. So thank you so much for being here today. Thank your body for everything it was able to do. Out you go. Go enjoy the outdoors with your safety glasses for that eclipse. And have a wonderful day, team. I'm here if you have any questions. Thank you, team. Thank you, team.